Yes, Master.
Hey guys, welcome back. I was going to give you an update on R2-D2's construction, but I decided to address a more serious issue. There is some strong division among Star Wars fans these days, especially online. It seems no matter where you go, whether it's a message board or the comment section on YouTube or Internet Movie Database or wherever, there's always somebody, usually more than a handful, of people posting nothing but hate. Ugh. Some places are getting downright toxic. Remember back when the movies first came out and if you met another Star Wars fan, there was an instant connection like, "Oh, you love Star Wars? I love Star Wars, yeah. Hey, I love it too, let's be friends." So, it's a bit of an oversimplification. I know there were always people who didn't like Return of the Jedi, people who didn't like The Empire Strikes Back even though today The Empire Strikes Back is seen as the greatest Star Wars movie ever. But generally speaking, there was not nearly as much toxicity among the community as there is these days. So, one has to ask the question, when did all this negativity start? Well, to do that, we have to travel back about 21 years, back to 1997 when the special editions were released. Now, before you think I'm blaming George Lucas for the division among Star Wars fans, don't even go there. Without George Lucas, Star Wars wouldn't even exist. He is still a brilliant storyteller, and he creates memorable characters, so George is not to blame for this. Most people were really excited about having the Star Wars movies re-released into the theater, including the generation that had never seen it in the theater before. The sad part is, people did not like some of the changes that George Lucas made to what they remembered. It's like, hey, wait a minute, this is different. I don't like it different. Or, you're using computers instead of real things? That's cheating. Whatever their reasoning was, some people just didn't agree with it. And the more time went on, the more vocal they got about it until the vocal minority turned into the perceived majority. And that's pretty much what's going on today. Only got worse when the prequels came out. Now, the general public, for the most part, they loved the prequels, even though there were certain elements they didn't like. Thanks to the spectacular battles at the end, the prequels left everyone coming out of the theater feeling pumped and energized, and hey, wow, when's the next one coming out? The prequels do suffer from problems, and mainly the generation that grew up with the originals, those who were children or teenagers in the 70s and 80s, saw more changes to the universe they perceived, or it didn't turn out the way they wanted, or fairly enough, they had problems with the script or the direction or the acting or one of the other technical problems that there was with the prequels. And they got even more vocal about it, and it became in style to bash the prequels endlessly, whether it was Jar Jar Binks or Jake Lloyd's acting, who, by the way, was just a kid and now has mental problems. Thanks, guys. Or Hayden Christensen's acting, or the dialogue, whatever it was. They endlessly bashed the prequels. Of course, for everybody that hated them, there were other people that loved them, myself included. For the longest time, I was the biggest prequel supporter and defender you could find. Yes, they do have problems, but they still don't deserve the incredible hate that they get. And then, of course, after the prequels, a few years passed, things seemed to calm down, even though the Jar Jar jokes and anti-prequel jokes kept coming. For the most part, the prequel bashers seem to quiet down and settle into their world of just not acknowledging it anymore. Well, all this hatred has now been reignited with the sequel trilogy, and with varying reasons. Some people got used to the old expanded universe where Luke went on, created a whole new Jedi Order, and then the Yuzong Vong attacked, and all this other stuff happened in the universe. People got used to that because of the books that told the story after Return of the Jedi. And now those are no longer rendered canon. To this day, there is a group of people who are still furious about that and have got online petitions and are boycotting Disney, you know, taking things to the far extreme of what I think is overreaction. And then on the other side, there are people who absolutely love the sequel trilogy. They think it's great. They think, wow, this is a great way of the story to be taken in. And then there's the vocal people online who can't stand it. You look on YouTube, you type in episodes 8 especially, and you will find reasons why episode 8 sucked, reasons why everything wrong with episode 8. You name it, anything pointing negativity at episode 8, anyone ranting about everything wrong with episode 8 gets hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of views. Therein lies the problem. There is a strong belief in today's world that to disagree with someone means you hate them. That is not true at all. The phrase agree to disagree seems to have gone the way of the dodo. Now, to disagree with somebody is fine, but putting other people down or insulting them or calling them stupid because they believe something different, that's something else. One of the YouTubers that I follow, Justin Scarred, is on something he calls the quest for positivity, and what he says is true. You cannot control your circumstances, but you can control the way you react to them. And that goes for us Star Wars fans too. We don't have to like all the Star Wars stuff that comes out, whether it's books, movies, animated stories, whatever. But to put someone down for liking one particular aspect of Star Wars that you, for whatever reason, don't like, that's not right. That just creates more division, and let's face it, there's enough division in this world as it is without Star Wars fans going at each other's throats. Other than not hurting other people, it's not good for you to be negative or bitter about things. It's actually detrimental to your health. And if you don't believe me, I've posted a couple links down below that show just how being negative and harboring bitterness affects your health. In short, it's not good. You don't want that. I mean, any of those negative emotions, whether they're fear, anger, or
anger
hatred.
leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Thank you, Master Yoda. That's exactly what I was trying to say. Now, the last thing I want to do is change anybody's opinion. It's fine to be disappointed. It's fine to be even upset with the way the franchise is going, whether it's the fact that the books have been now rejected, or the way the sequel trilogy's been put together, or even people who are still hanging on to bitterness about the prequel trilogy. For you guys, you seriously need to let it go. It's been almost 20 years since episode 1 came out. It's time to stop bashing Jar Jar and just let it go. Let it go, let it go. My recommendation, if you still love Star Wars as much as I do, if you want to hold on to those memories of the good times you've had related to Star Wars, whether it's been costumes or making friends or movie premieres, whatever it is, anything positive related to Star Wars, you need to hold on to that. If it's the new movies you don't like, try and find anything about it that's positive. If other people want to talk about it, rather than saying, oh, I don't like that movie and this is why, you need to change your opinion. No, instead of doing that, try and find something positive that you actually like. Try not to let one book or one movie or even a series of movies ruin the whole franchise for you. There are whole groups of people who still love Star Wars, but who have completely rejected the prequels. They're like, I don't like it, so I'm going to step away from it. Now, stepping away from it is probably the right thing to do. When something makes you continually angry and you can't find anything positive about it, just walk away from it, if at all possible. Now, when it comes to jobs or something like that, sometimes you have to put up with a little bit of discomfort, but when it comes to something like a movie franchise like Star Wars, it's just better if you walk away when you can't put up with something anymore. And if somebody insists on pushing, walk away from them. Disagreements are fine, but when it degrades into saying that, oh, this is terrible and everyone should agree with me because I'm right and this is why, No. Civil debates are fine, but trying to change someone else's opinion and then getting mad when it doesn't change? No, and that's why I avoid politics these days. There's so much arguing and mudslinging, like, oh, this is why we're right. No, this is why we're right. Ugh, enough of that. I don't need that in Star Wars. Anyway, guys, that's about it. I've spoken my piece. I hope I didn't offend anybody. That's the last thing I want to do. I'm not calling out any of my subscribers on the carpet because so far about 90% of them have been overwhelmingly positive, not just with my channel, but with Star Wars. I mean, I've managed to find a group of people that love Star Wars too much to let one movie or one series or whatever, one aspect of it ruin the whole thing for them. There's still things that we can hold on to that we still love. Of course, there are trolls who make a career out of being negative, and as for those people, in the words of Obi-Wan Kenobi, you want to go home and rethink your life. Seriously. Okay, I hope this isn't turning into a rant. Like I said, I don't want to put anybody down. I'm just trying to get my feelings out there, get this off my chest, because it's been bothering me for quite a while now. And like I said, I'm not trying to change anybody's opinion. I'm not trying to turn the internet upside down or message boards upside down, anything. I'm not trying to be a revolutionary here. I'm just trying to get my feelings out there, and if I can even help one person be a little bit more positive in their interactions when it comes to Star Wars, then that's all I hope to accomplish. And of course, not all Star Wars fans are as negative about it. The overwhelming majority that I have met are incredibly positive. They're incredibly friendly. Sure, there's things about Star Wars they don't like, but they can be civil about it or move on and change the subject so we can find common ground instead of focusing on what tears us apart. And that's what I love so much about the costuming groups like the 501st, the Rebel Legion, Mandalorian Mercs, Jedi Assembly, all the people I've met from there have been incredibly positive, non-argumentative. They're doing what they do, dressing up in costumes and going to charity events for the love of Star Wars and mostly for the love of kids, to pass on what they love to the next generation, and it helps make somebody's day brighter. And in the end, that's what it should be all about. Using our fandom to unite people, to make people happy instead of being divisive and making them mad. I think I've rambled for long enough, but that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more G-rated positive Star Wars content, go ahead and click that little subscription button below. But until next time, this is the Clumsy Jedi signing off. Bye guys, and may the Force be with you all.